Welcome, Bike. It's Q and Assault. How we doing? Oh, people are in here yapping already.
Yeah.
Welcome, my man Adam, South Harmon, the shitheads over here. He's gonna be helping me out with Q and Assault for this week. As always, if you are not a Big Dog member, you can join BDGE.co. We got the Q and Assault every Saturday. We've got our waiver wire rankings, our weekly rankings, all that good stuff. You got the Discord channel in there. We're here just hanging out on a beautiful, but fucking freezing Saturday out here in New York.
Cold, gray, and beautiful.
This is how we like New York, baby.
You know?
That's how it is out here. How are we? What's going on, Mikey baby? Mikey baby.
What's good?
As always, we start this with a little weather update. Who would I be if not your weatherman, your weekly weatherman? So the only 3 games with weather concerns this week, we got the Jets at Buffalo. I think we're likely dry, or at least dry. 10 to 15 mile per hour winds, stronger gusts. You got Minnesota at Denver. You got Philly at KC, a bit showery, on and off, whatever. Doesn't seem like anything too strong.
No, these are all those all look very light work. If this is the worst of the weather we get this week, we're in good hands.
There hasn't been a lot of orange or red warnings over here for the year yet. We are getting close to Thanksgiving and December. So I'm assuming it's going to get bad.
It's going to start getting ugly.
Yeah, I mean, you from Cleveland, you know all about that.
Yeah, we kind of forget until like week 13, 14 that it gets real ugly late.
Yeah, I mean, you got to that's one thing that I've really tried to stay on top of a little bit more as I've progressed in this industry. Like, you got a lot of people who do fantasy analysis based off of just their like opinions on things, but there's an edge to be had when you closely follow things that do actually affect players, like staying on top of medical things, injuries. Weather is a big concern on a week-to-week basis. Like when you can actually give yourself edges based on fucking science and math, as opposed to being like, I like this guy based on this tiny sample size. I think those things kind of go a long way.
Big time. I think the weather thing, especially if you can, I mean, there's some things you can't avoid, but if you know, like, shoot, I'm from Cleveland, you're from New York, you know, I saw the game last year where Amari's dropping a touchdown that he normally wouldn't because it's absolutely freezing out there. Like, if you can avoid those situations when possible, why not have that edge?
You think like Dave Montgomery not going to get 40 carries a game in December?
Every one of them. Jahmyr Gibbs, is he ready for that cold weather?
Hell no. It don't get cold in Bama, does it?
I
don't know.
What
kind of weather they get?
It don't get cold like that, man.
Yeah.
There's no way.
What up, Ali? All right, let's get into some questions. Alex, first one of the week. PPR, we got Amari, we got Kareem, we got JSN. Or do I roll the dice on JJ this week and leave the spot open? I don't think he's going to play this week, though. So JJ is still questionable to return. He plays Sunday Night Football, which gets a little bit difficult. They're probably going to roll him up as like a game time decision, and we probably won't know until later in the day. We can keep a really close eye on reports. I think a lot of the times you'll get some sort of feel for a vibe on this one. As we're looking at the other players, we have JSN and the Seahawks. They will be playing against.
Are they 1 or 4 is my question.
Seahawks are 4.
Okay. Because that at least, like, you might have a little extra time to see it on if you really wanted to wait on JJ.
That's fair.
I feel like I'm going to err on the side of he's not going to play.
I think that's the right way to look at it. I guess my other question would be, like, based on the first 3, Amari, Kareem, JSN, I would still rank Amari, I think, top.
I agree.
With Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Those 2 are 1 o'clock games, Cleveland. So that gives you, like, if I were to rank these guys, I think I might put it Amari, JSN, then Kareem.
Agreed.
So depending on your risk tolerance, I would most likely roll with Amari unless we heard, like, positive vibe reports for JJ. In that case, put JSN into your lineup until 4, see if we got any more clarity there, and then roll JJ later.
Damn. Just stole the whole thunder, damn it. Look at that. That's exactly what I would do. If you don't feel good about the news you have at, let's say, 12:30, right? This is Eastern time. I'm just going to go ahead and play Amari Cooper. I'm just locking that in. He's the best play for me if you take JJ off the equation. If you feel good enough and you want to risk it, you have a window where I feel okay. JSN to Amari, I'd rather have Amari, but if you want to take the upside swing on JJ, you feel good enough about the news, I'm playing JSN. I think Kareem I can leave out of here. You're splitting work, and these games with Pittsburgh typically are kind of like muck fest. You're banking 100% on a touchdown.
I think the over is like fucking 33 or something right now.
Exactly. You're banking on a touchdown. If he doesn't score a touchdown, it's not really a play.
This is full PPR too. So even if he scores a touchdown, like there's a good chance that Amari or JSN can top him without a touchdown.
Exactly. Like Amari could have a mid game and still end up as good or be better than Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, facts. Mr. Alexander, do I trade Kyler for Jerome Ford and Christian Kirk if I already have Dak? I'm assuming this is a one quarterback league, and if so, I would for sure let that rip.
Yeah, this is easy one way or the other. If it's super flex, hell nah. If it's one quarterback, a million times.
Yeah, I mean Dak. Rest of the season, I'm ranking Dak over Kyler straight up easily.
Dak right now, since I would say, put it like this: if you go back and look at his splits, the week before the bye, they kind of had their coming out party, and then since coming out of the bye, he has been unbelievable. They're peppering, like they're just up there and passing. Tony Pollard, they're moving on from like the run game. Yeah. This is Dak's season the rest of the way, man.
Dude, he's been a top 3 fantasy QB in 4 straight weeks.
Yeah, in the week before the bye, then they had the bye, and then the last 3 weeks, he's on a heater.
Wild. And Jerome Ford and Christian Kirk, they're not dudes that like I'm overly excited about. Kirk's been great. Ford's getting a shit ton of work, but those are top 20 options. Like you can put them in your lineup pretty confidently every single week.
Yeah. Ford has the ability to rip long ones too, right? And Kirk is I think an underrated. He'll like forever be underrated right now. I feel so.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those guys. Anna said, "What's
up?
What up,
Anna? Appreciate it,
girl." Kenneth, FPPR start 1 of Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs. Chris, this is a diabolical ass question,
dude. All right, so we make holograms for the Sunday recaps we do, and most teams have like 4 or 5 that are worthy, and Green Bay has about 8 or 9 because you just don't know who you want in the offense, and the offense sucks. This is pick one of the Packers. Who you got? It ain't Watson.
I'm going to take Dobbs.
Okay, it's definitely it's either Dobbs or Reed. I really like the way Jaden Reed's been trending lately, man.
He's really talented.
So talented.
My only concern is that like I think he might be the best receiver right now for them.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like Jordan Love and him have like a real connection. But I'm still concerned that he's not playing full time. Like he's still like the 3 in terms of play time. But at some point, we also have to be like, okay, Christian Watson's the 1 in terms of play time, but it doesn't fucking matter.
Right.
Like Jaden Reed's getting the valuable targets, whereas Dobbs is kind of hit or miss depending on whether or not he scores a touchdown. I still think I feel a little bit better with Dobbs, but I don't think I blame you going either way with Reed or Dobbs. Watson for sure is not the answer in my opinion.
He's not the answer. One of the things I got right this offseason, Watson ain't it. I'm going to play Reed, but I actually agree with what you said. I think Reed, to me, the reason I'm going to play him is I like the valuable touches he's getting. His snap share isn't the highest in an offense that isn't that good. So if you told me when you're playing one of these guys, Kenneth, that you're looking for the possible highest upside, it probably actually is Dobbs. So I want Reed, but I could see either way.
Yeah, I'm looking at the last couple of weeks. Watson and Dobbs are both like pretty much exactly 80% in terms of the routes. Jaden Reed, 56% last week, 45% the week before that. So he's hovering around 50%.
And the reason is he's playing a lot of the slot stuff, and you got to remember they drafted 2 tight ends. They run a lot of the heavier sets. So
yeah, and they want to run at this point they're trying to hide Love a little bit, and they're running their offense through now healthy Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon.
Exactly. Yep.
So
I agree.
Ali Pacheco need to start one more running back. Darrell Henderson, Alexander Madison, if he plays Khalil Herbert or Jerick McKinnon, and hedge Pacheco play to be safe. Okay, interesting question. So,
Kyron playing?
No, I don't think he's going to be back till week 12.
Okay, if that's the case, then I get it. All right.
Yeah, so I think if we go individual breakdowns here, we have Darrell and Royce Freeman splitting work. Freeman, they're going back and forth. It was like after the first week, it was like Darrell looks better. After the second week, Royce Freeman looks better. So it's really difficult to get a feel for that. Alexander Madison, I feel like 95% chance he's not playing.
I was going to say that the concussion protocol is one that's really tricky to get out of, man, at this late.
Yeah. More often than not, they don't. Khalil Herbert's finally looking like he's going to come back. I still think like Deonta Foreman is clearly carved out like a pretty significant role in that backfield. Detroit run defense is pretty good. Jerick McKinnon is a really, really risky play there because you don't know if he's going to get 2 touchdowns or if he's going to get 2 touches.
Right. I mean, McKinnon to me in lineup is really one of the hardest to pick.
Mm-hmm.
Like I play a lot of best ball. I love him there because I don't care, but I don't want to play him personally out of this group because it's so hard to peg when that's going to be.
You like Henderson or Herbert more?
So I'll tell you, I'm going to probably pick Herbert here. The Seahawks and Rams games historically have been these like low scoring kind of grind fest. I think that Khalil Herbert, the one thing that's interesting to me, I agree with you about the Foreman, but the fact that Roshan really never has taken a leap forward, I think that Herbert's going to come back and get a decent amount of touches.
In my eyes, Roshan's a non-factor in fantasy right now, for sure. I guess my concern is like Chicago's playing Detroit, right?
Yeah. I'm almost positive.
Yeah, I'm looking at the matchups on the 33rd team right now. In terms of just fantasy points allowed to the positions, Seahawks are 6th in terms of the most points allowed to running backs, where on the flip side, Detroit is the 28th. So it's like Detroit's not letting up points, and typically like that comes from being a good run defense, right? And like Khalil Herbert's a guy who's going to get his points from getting it done on the ground. On
the ground, yes.
Yeah, so it's like, who do you think has a better chance of scoring a touchdown? Darrell Henderson, Khalil Herbert? Dude, I think I might lean Henderson here. I feel confident he's going to get 50% of the work.
I would honestly, I could say it's a coin flip. You made some pretty good cases. I think that honestly, the thing about the Bears is that Pageant hasn't played as bad, or the offense hasn't been as gross as I thought that it would be. Mm-hmm. The matchup versus Detroit, though, I could get getting behind Henderson. Something about my gut just says Herbert, but
okay.
I don't know. I feel like this Rams offense with Stafford coming back, he may not actually get as much work, even though he'll be out there 50% of the time.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I could also see Darrell Henderson going like 12 for 34, not catching a fucking pass or anything like that.
Yep. Pick 2,
full PPR. We got Rashee Rice versus the Eagles. We got DeAndre Hopkins, and we've got Ty Chandler, who's looking to be the main beneficiary of Alexander Madison.
It's amazing, man. They trade for Cam Akers, and he's done. Madison's out. Ty Chandler's going to have the backfield to himself this weekend.
Yeah, do we any concern with, like, this is something I've been kind of harping on. I feel like it's going to stab me in the back now that I finally felt like I learned the lesson on it.
All right.
But how often do we, like, starting running back goes down and we're just like, oh, this guy's going to get the work, whether it's like the Josh Kelly or any of those guys, and then they do horribly, and then we're like, there's a reason they were a backup.
Yeah.
And my mind keeps going to like, okay, there's a reason Ty Chandler was a backup, and then they went out and traded for Cam Akers to throw him right in front of Ty Chandler. Like, there's a reason backups are backups, and third-string guys are third-string guys. So on paper, it's awesome, but like Minnesota, I feel like has told us pretty explicitly through their moves that like they don't really trust Ty Chandler.
I agree.
Does that mean Kenny Nwangu is going to get more work? Probably not. Like, I think Ty Chandler's explosive and he can make big plays, but there's something about the situation that makes me a little bit
I totally
cautious.
I think the reality is for both Ty Chandler and Nwangu, the team has told you that they like their special teams ability. They like them as football players, but they don't believe in them as anywhere near full-time guys.
Yeah.
So this is a suboptimal thing for the Vikings. Sometimes in fantasy, though, this can be relevant. I would say that it would not surprise me if Ty Chandler does not do a lot this week.
Yeah, Broncos low-key been a nice defense too over the last month. That being said, though, like Rashee Rice, I think is for sure in my lineup. Coming off the bye week for Andy Reid and the Chiefs, I think this is like possibly his coming out party a little bit.
I agree.
But now the question is like, do you like a possible workhorse Ty Chandler, or do you like DeAndre Hopkins against the Jaguars on the road?
I'm playing Nuke and I'm playing Rice here. Full PPR is the reason I'm gonna end up doing that. If you told me it's half or something, I'll put Ty Chandler in ahead of one of them. But
I'm with you.
I'm playing the receivers.
I'm gonna play with the receivers as well.
Yep.
Rashee Rice and Drell, so I think we could both probably lean Rashee Rice there.
I agree. Oh wait, half PPR. Oh, I still think I'm gonna go Rice, but man, half PPR does make it closer.
Yeah, I'm still going Rice. Rice is like he's been a great red zone weapon for them too. He's scoring touchdowns.
Rice is starting to really pick up each week. I feel like his team has been getting better.
This is like this is like textbook post by rookie bump.
Yep.
A guy who's been getting more and more and more involved, have the bye, a fucking wicked brain like Andy Reid, I can see Rice jumping up to 75, 80%. And everyone's like, he's the guy now.
Yep. This could be the week where he becomes unattainable. I agree.
Yeah.
Andy Reid's going to have at least a couple plays cooked up for him.
Facts. PPR start 2. We got Pickens, James Cook, McBride, Warren, Jaden Reed. A lot of good options.
Is there any tight end premium here?
No, it just looks like full PPR.
Full PPR? Okay.
Honestly, despite there being a lot of names, I think I narrowed this down quickly. I'm going Trey and Jalen Warren.
Man. This is so I'm playing Warren.
Yeah.
McBride and Jaden Reed become close and non-tight end premium for me.
Really? My mind went to James Cook if I wasn't going with McBride.
James Cook has been kind of so up and down. Like, I know his upside is obviously real. I think I'm gonna go with you there. The only thing about McBride, when it's not tight end premium, I love how he's been playing. Like, would anyone be surprised to see him go for like 4 and 50? And
no, but like I almost feel like if you're starting Jaden Reed, you're
hoping for that too.
I mean, you're not hoping for that. Like, you're hoping for like a 5 for 70 and maybe a touchdown. But I kind of feel like the likelihood of a good game happening. McBride, I mean, what has he done besides been awesome since getting the role? Agreed.
Well, he's had two of his last 3 weeks have been phenomenal.
Yeah.
I would say that what I'm saying is I think that the floor for Jaden Reed is not as safe as McBride's, but I do think that Jaden Reed still carries a little bit more upside. I'm going to take McBride here, though, because I don't think it's significant.
I'm rolling that way, too. And they're playing the Texans, and the Texans allow the single most fantasy points to the tight end position.
Ooh, did not know that's a nice pull.
Yeah.
I also think the way CJ Stroud's playing, you're almost always having to score points.
This could be a big point game for sure. I'm in on McBride and Warren there. Scary Gary. We got a fat fucking paragraph here. Half PPR redraft. I'm extremely fat. Oh wow, I didn't even read
how did
that.
You not catch that?
I'm extremely fat with 3 Lions players: St. Brown, Gibbs, and Laporta. Good problem to have. Would you trade Laporta and Jordan Addison for a different tight end wide receiver combo like Metcalf and Ingram, or Devonta Smith and Kmet, or would you hold? So
hold.
Yeah, more often than not, I think I'm fine just like staying with the guys that I have. Addison does feel a little bit like a sell though, because Justin Jefferson is about to return.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just saw the St. Brown. I thought he's talking about trading St. Brown.
Oh, no. Laporta and Addison for Metcalf and
all right,
Ingram or Devonta Smith and Kmet.
So Metcalf, interestingly, the Seahawks have an unbelievable schedule for the receiver position down the stretch in the playoffs.
Talk to me.
However, Metcalf, I mean, he has been so mid this year. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's hard to bet on him having the upside. Like when I look at this, Devonta Smith is the one that makes it interesting because that offense seems to want to have 3 people. With Devonta Smith has not been one of them when Goddard's healthy. But Goddard being out now,
Goddard low key. The reports coming out today that he's not really going to be out long.
They said back sooner.
They said like 3 weeks max. Yeah, they're not putting him on the IR.
I mean, I think right now with the way that Dobbs has come along and saved the probably fantasy outlook for Addison. If it was like Jaron Hall or somebody, I'd be a lot more worried. I think I'm probably still staying.
I think
it's a lot closer.
I think I am too. I almost feel like you have both of the highest ceiling guys.
Agreed
in this trade.
The other thing about this Scary Gary is like I understand your concern having exposure to 3 Lions players, but that offense is extremely consolidated. So like St. Brown, Gibbs, Monty, Laporta, and no one else cares about really anyone.
And they're a team that scores fucking 28 points a game too.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm fine having I get that question all the time in the summer. It's like, can I draft 2 guys from the same team? I'm like, yeah, if they're a good offense.
Exactly.
I would diversify if you're drafting like 2 Steelers players. Like, should I draft like Najee and Deontay Johnson on the turn of the 4-5? I'm like, that's where I would say probably not, because we don't have full confidence that they're going to be a great offense. But this team, I got no problem with it.
Agreed.
All right.
James
Stain. I have Zay Jones as a must start. Thoughts? Correct. He's a must start every week, even if he's out.
It's an auto start, auto answer.
Auto everything. All right, we probably got to start cruising through these.
Do it.
Tindy, hey boss, I have Mark Andrews in my tight end, so I just traded Nico Collins, Singletary, Otten for Hawkinson. How do you feel about that? Super fine with that. Hawkinson's been a beast. Nico Collins is good, inconsistent. He's having trouble staying on the field. Singletary feels like he's a guy that you can feel confident for about 1 more week having in your lineup, and Otten is just whatever.
Yeah, in lineup, this is a no-brainer, man.
Yeah.
In a lineup league, like, you're always going to feel great about pressing the button on Hawkinson. Every single one of those other guys, you're not going to feel good about pressing weekly.
Yeah, I think you've smashed that trade.
Easy.
Ollie, half PPR, start 1. Alexander Madison, Darrell Henderson, Khalil Herbert, or McKinnon. I think we answered this one. I think you might just been following back up again.
So we did, except for Madison wasn't in it, and he's not playing, so we're good.
So we went back to I said Herbert, I said Henderson.
Yep.
I think actually I think I might lean towards Herbert.
There you
Thinking
go.
about it a little bit more.
See that, man? Let's
you
get it.
You don't fuck me up. Mikey Dookie, baby. Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, or CJ Stroud in standard league this week. I have Lamb and Collins as wide receivers. Oh, my God.
Dude, it is. Dak and CJ Stroud is probably one of the hardest to decide. They're both on absolute heaters.
Yeah, it's not Josh Allen.
Dude, those guys are both on heaters.
And you have this stack of both wide receivers.
I'll probably say I don't have to play Collins. I'd probably just lean into this Lamb and Dak stack again.
I would do the same. I would go Dak and Lamb.
Yep. God, sitting CJ Stroud seems criminal.
Do I trade Kyler for Jerome Ford and Christian Kirk if I already have Dak? Am I going backwards? I think they're just asking the question.
They may have
twice.
just asked you again.
Yeah, okay. And pick 2, full PPR, 6 point per passing touchdown. Jacoby, Ridley, Will Levis. Okay, so you're asking for the super flex spot. This is definitely in our NYC league. So
is there so you're in the league?
Yeah.
So is there heavy negatives for quarterback?
6
passing touchdown.
And then I think -3 for interception.
All right.
I still though the other options though.
Man, what do you think? Let me get your answer because you're in the league. I'm going to give you mine.
Levis is going to go into my lineup. Jacoby does play against Miami, which is like a great fucking matchup for receivers that are struggling just because they're going to have to score so many points. And I do expect Miami to whip the shit out of Jacoby. It's tough, though, because I feel like Antonio Pierce took over, and then like his only game plan has been like only feed Devontae, only feed Josh Jacobs. Everybody else is completely secondary and tertiary in the offense, which scares me.
Mm-hmm.
Ridley against the Titans. Like, I don't know how many times we could play the same game with Ridley, but Titans pass D, not great. Like, you do have the correlation there. If Will Levis does good, Ridley does well, maybe like pass kind of thing. I think I play Levis and Ridley.
Okay. I'm playing I would just put it this way. Unless there's a like higher negatives than that, I'm going to always just err on the process side of playing a quarterback in Superflex. There's more upside. So I'm playing Levis. I can't do the Ridley thing anymore, man.
That's fair.
I just can't. You're not actually wrong with any of your points on Myers. I was really bullish on him. His usage has gone down significantly. Yep. They kind of getting him some gimmicky touchdowns, saving his weeks. But I can't do the Ridley.
I mean, he was fantastic, but look, with Aiden O'Connell, it's
not the same.
There's no rhyme or reason. They're just forcing everything on offense, and it works for those two guys. But like, it's not a smooth offense where you could feel dependable.
They 100% feel like they're trying to keep 17 happy.
Yeah. It feels like right now they're just like a vibe team where it's like, let's just keep our guys happy. Let's have a good locker room and let's keep pushing forward, kind of shit.
Yep.
Superflex, 4 point per passing touchdown. Start 2. Josh Dobbs, Kyler Murray, CJ Stroud. Oof.
That's tough.
Woo.
It's CJ's auto. It's between Murray and Dobbs for me.
Yeah, Dobbs versus the Bright.
I'm going to lean into this Murray. I'm going to lean into that game.
Yeah.
Give me Murray and CJ.
Let's go with the shootout there. They're one of the highest over-unders on the week.
Yep.
Dak or Allen. I think we're both on Dak. There for show.
Yep.
Andrew, have PPR Superflex. I am 4-6. Basically need to win out. My quarterbacks are Tua, Fields, and Purdy. My wide receivers are A.J. Brown and dog shit Pickens, Watson, DeMario, JSN. Should I trade Fields for Waddle and Hollywood? This is half PPR. You have Tua and Purdy as your QB 1 and 2. Should you trade Fields for Waddle and Hollywood? It is a shakeup that I'd be okay with. I guess my other question would be like, how many wide receivers can you start? How many flex spots are you starting there? Because if at this point, what I'm trying to do is pretty much make my team as well-rounded in the starting lineup as possible. Like,
I would
depth
agree.
Matters a little bit less. Like, you need to just win out and have good lineups every game.
So, I'll answer the question this way. First, if I'm going to trade away Fields, which I'm okay with because you have Purdy and you have Tua still, I would also just make sure like how accessible are quarterbacks in this league through wire or trade if you got an injury to one of those guys. Because what you never want to have in Superflex is not start a quarterback in the playoffs. If you can find a solution like a cheap quarterback 3 emergency, the only thing is it's half PPR. So like it's not that I wouldn't do this trade. It's just that can you trade away Fields for someone that maybe is a little more consistent and upside to win in those spots? I'm okay with it.
Waddle feels like a decent prize for. I mean, Hollywood I think is also about to have like a nice stretch with Kyler.
Kyler being back's huge for him.
Yeah, so I think those are two good pieces where it's like you're not going to get what you want for Fields realistically. You know, like you can't really. Like how many players in a tier above Waddle can you really expect? You know,
no,
you can't dip into that like Amon-Ra, A.J. Brown tier for him.
You're not getting that high. No, the only thing is, and I agree. If this is the best you could get, I would take it. The only thing is, right now you have probably 2 or 3 teams that are just scrambling at QB because there's so many injuries.
No, it's super fair. I will say though too, like Tua and Purdy have both had their bye, I believe too. So like if
you're okay.
injury doesn't happen, like you're okay there.
If you have the risk tolerance to go for it with just 2, I'm with you.
I don't hate. It's a fair trade. We'll put it that way for sure. Mr. Influence, half PPR, 2 flex. We got Sutton, Deontay Johnson, Henderson, and Warren. So for me, Warren's going to get in there.
Yeah.
I'm just a fan of Warren. I think he's a fucking fantastic player. Deontay scares me a little bit. The Broncos against the Vikings, I think I might lean Warren and Sutton here.
I'm actually, for the full PPR.
It's half.
Oh, it is half?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it says half in front. You're right. All right, half PPR, I'm going to go with you. If it was full, I was actually going to go with Sutton and Deontay. I'm going to go with Sutton and Warren here.
Yeah, I agree. Deontay's like a full PPR. He's kind of like a must start, but he almost has 0 chance of scoring a touchdown ever.
Yep, and he got one, so it might be a while.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. He's due to not have one forever.
Yes.
Following up on that first trade, I'm reluctant to move Purdy only because Fields has that buy still, right? If not that trade, what wide receiver would you target? No, I think you did it correctly.
I mean, if you tell me the highest you can go up is Waddle, I'd take the offer for sure.
Full PPR, Kincaid or Ingram, Love or Geno. I mean, it's Kincaid always, I think.
Dude, you can't. I don't think I'm. I was anti-Kincaid when the snaps were not good, but right now you can't go away from Kincaid.
Unsittable.
You can't.
We have Jordan Love at home against the Chargers, and we have Geno on the road against the Rams. I still think I lean Geno, though.
I do, too.
Yep.
I don't trust Love at all.
Better weapons. Love is untrustable.
Yep.
Start 1, half PPR. Jerome Ford, Christian Watson, Jahan Dotson.
I'm going to tell you right now, you can leave Dotson on the bench.
Yeah, I'm going Jerome Ford here.
I agree.
I feel like without Watson, they're gonna lean heavily into Ford.
And I'm also not. Yeah, Watson and Christian Watson and Jahan Dotson, I'm not really feeling starting at all.
Yeah, they're not fun. Denver Jets or Chargers defense this week. So you have Denver at home as 2.5-point favorites against the Vikings. We have the Chargers also at home. Or no, they're on the road, but 3-point favorites at Green Bay. And then you have the Jets playing at Buffalo on the road as 7-point dogs. So one thing I will always say is, like, I'm not starting a fantasy defense that are underdogs, like that are expected to lose their game. That team goes off the rip for me. So like the Jets would not be a starter for me. Broncos and Chargers are both favorites. I tend to lean with the team that is at home. I think that's like a tiebreaker for me. So I would lean Denver, and they're playing really well right now too.
Who's Denver got again? I'm trying to think of
the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll take that. I'm with you. I don't want to play the Chargers, actually.
Also, do I trade Jordan Addison and Calvin Ridley for Puka?
Ooh. I think so. I'd say this: if you can get away with the consolidation, I don't really ever care about starting Ridley anymore. I just told you. So
yeah,
with Stafford back, I understand the up tier.
Yep,
I'm with you.
I would be okay with that too. I'd go Puka. Ayuk or Rashi, half PPR. Crazy that we even got to ask this.
Ayukin.
I'm definitely going Ayuk too. Tampa Bay's pass defense is not great.
Mm-hmm.
Full PPR, 1 flex, Dell or Metcalf. Woo! I think it's gonna be tank for me, man.
I'm gonna attach myself to CJ Stroud and not Geno Smith here.
In that game, also Noah Brown's out too. So
is he?
I'm pretty sure he hasn't been practicing this week.
I saw that. I didn't know he was officially out. Dang, that sucks.
So tank and maybe a limited Nico Collins.
Well, then give me tank.
Yeah, that's like auto start there. Mikey Dookie's back. Pick 2 in standard. Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, Tony Pollard, James Conner. Okay. This is a good question. Kenneth Walker seemed to be back on track there. They get the Rams. I mean, it can't be Tony Pollard.
I was going to say, is it crazy to just initially just rip Tony Pollard out of this question?
Nah, that's exactly my first thought.
I think I'm going Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker.
Ooh. Conner looked good in his first game back.
He did. I don't disagree.
Dude, Breece is making me wheezy, man. I don't know.
He's been very inconsistent, but the thing about here's the way I look at this. It's close for me. Which one, if they go off, can I stomach on my bench?
Fair.
If I put Breece on the bench and he rips off a 80-yard tutty, I'm gonna be sick.
Yeah, you're right. Breece and Walker. That was some logical ass shit.
See that?
There. Yeah.
Y'all see that? That's how the big dogs do it, man.
What up, fellas? Need to bring Achane off IR. Drop Komet or Christian Watson. Half PPR, 10 team. I have Kincaid.
Oh. Drop. Well, here's the thing.
I think they're both droppable.
I was just going to say.
I don't think it's that deep, I think, for either, to be honest.
Where's God at? It ain't that deep.
Yeah, just not.
Because I was going to say Watson's so easily droppable. Then you're like, how much are you going to feel confident starting Komet when you have Kincaid? I'd get rid of both of them. Clear up the roster spots.
I'm fine with either. Yeah, I'm fine with getting rid of either of them. I guess my only question would be like, is Watson your wide receiver 6? If so, an easy choice. If he's like your wide receiver 4 and the next fucking guy on the waiver wire is, I don't know, like Trent Irwin, I'd probably hold on to Watson in that scenario. But either way, I think you're going to be fine. And you're probably not going to use either of these guys heavily.
Yep.
Hello, sirs. 12-man, half PPR. I trade Kupp, Brian Robinson, and Ramondre for Waddle and Javonte. My other wide receivers are Puka and Addison, and other running backs are Walker and JT. So you're getting rid of Kupp, Brian Robinson, and Ramondre. That already off the rip just feels like too much. Waddle, good player. Haven't seen a ceiling. Javonte's getting a shit ton of work. I feel like giving up Kupp is just too much. Then throwing this other stuff on top, it feels like it's a no for me.
All right, so here's how I look at this in a league like this. Would you rather have Ramondre and B-Rob or Javonte? B-Rob has been coming on playing really well too, though, man.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm okay with getting rid of Ramondre in this scenario if you wanted to do that.
Agreed. I think that in that scenario, I might even lean Javonte, but like Kupp to
that's the question now.
Kupp to Waddle's not close for me.
Really? Okay.
Is it close for you?
I would say I definitely want Kupp. The reason it's close is that even when Stafford's been back, look at Kupp's. Puka's been making Kupp not as high ceiling. I still think he has that, but it hasn't been as stable as I thought it was going to be.
I think there's a little bit of bad luck. I think like Stafford injury. I think we're going to see a stable Kupp Stafford rest of season.
I agree.
So it's like the running back side of it is close enough to the point where like I feel good about Kupp over Waddle to the point where I take the Kupp side.
Here's the other thing too, Michael. I'd put it like this. The reason I definitely, as the more I think about it, agree with you is if I'm going to pick my upside play, given the players here, I'd rather take the highest upside in receiver.
Mm-hmm. Is it crazy to start Goff over Hurts? A bit concerned about Hurts lingering knee injury. I think you're overthinking it. I think he's going to be fine. I mean, he just had the bye week too. So.
Jalen Hurts, despite this lingering injury, is in warp like wins of replacement. One of the top, if not the top options in every league.
Yeah, he shows up in big games too.
And even when he doesn't have the greatest stat day, this guy's almost capable of a ground or 2 touchdown every week.
Facts. Chad, standard, starting Tyreek and Kelsey, need another wide receiver, and flex, DJ Moore, Kirk, Lockett, McBride. Holy.
Goodness.
All right, so standard scoring, remember?
Okay, yep.
So we are thinking about just yardage and touchdowns here for the most part. DJ Moore has been very good with Justin Fields. You can also pass the ball in the Detroit Lions defense. Christian Kirk, I mean, he's just been good, with T-Law all year. They play against the Titans. Lockett's been questionable all week. No, is he going to play?
I thought I saw he was though. I mean, I'll check.
Okay,
I thought I saw that he was. Let's see, Lockett
low key is like a good standard.
Appears truly questionable still.
Okay, that might be a little bit of a tiebreaker for me.
That changes things, yeah.
Just because these other guys are so close in terms of like what they've been doing. You have a lean here.
When you go to standard, it really makes this one tough. I think if I'm thinking of true upside, I probably will play Kirk and Moore over McBride just because now it's like just strictly a yards and touchdown thing.
Let's try to break it down a little bit. Let's say
go ahead.
I would put all of these guys at a coin flip for a touchdown. Would you say?
Yeah, actually,
give or take like 0.03 maybe.
Yeah, if you told me you think McBride has the best chance of a touchdown, I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah. Yardage wise,
I would have said Lockett as the high one, but now if I take him off, I'll say Moore and Kirk first.
I think they're all hovering between like 50 and 60. If you looked at like their yardage prop in
averages, yes, agreed.
Yeah, I think like they'd all. I know McBride was at 55.
You guys did that today.
Yeah, Moore can't be much higher than 50, 54 or something like that.
Yep.
Kirk and Lockett are Kirk and Lockett might be the highest ones actually.
Yep.
If
agreed.
I think about it, so I think those might be the two I lean in the middle.
Kirk and McBride?
No, Kirk and Lockett.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think at the end of the day, unless, depending on the reports of Lockett's
what
injury,
if Lockett's out, I guess is the question.
Yeah, if Lockett's out, then...
Because he plays at 4, so you might not be able to wait. You might not want to wait.
Facts. Okay. I'm going to go Kirk. I think he's just kind of earned that this year, to be honest. And then,
Kirk's the one I'm auto-starting if Lockett's out, too.
McBride's got the matchup. He's got the streak going right now. Ooh. What are you thinking here?
Dude, I'm actually kind of – so DJ Moore has been very kind kind of feeling very mid lately. The one thing is I think about he's had 2 games that have won you a week no matter what.
And those were with Fields. Like,
I
he's
know.
good with Fields.
And that's where I'm like, out of upside, I think I'll lean DJ Moore here.
I think I'm going to lean that way too.
Because they both have okay floors.
Let's go Kirk and DJ.
Yep.
Standard 6-point passing touchdown, Dobbs or T-Law? I'm going Dobbs.
This is so crazy.
T-Law is on pace for like 18 touchdowns this year.
He's been mid, and he showed twice like a really bad floor. Yeah. I'm playing Dobbs. Yeah, this is wild to think this far in. We're playing Dobbs on a second team ahead of T-Law.
Yep. Assuming I need to get Fields off of IR in place of Love at starting quarterback this week, but I have to drop someone, Madison, Spears, Dotson, or drop one of my 3 quarterbacks, Love or Trevor, full PPR 10 team. Assuming this is one quarterback, you can
10
right?
Yeah, and it's also 10 team. Even in Superflex and 10 team, you can drop a quarterback here.
You can drop Love.
I'm dropping Love.
But also, I mean, if this is Superflex, I would drop Dotson before I dropped a third quarterback. But if this is one quarterback, you easily drop Love or Trevor, honestly.
Exactly what he said. Love and 1 QB, Dotson and Superflex. Mm-hmm. Dotson anyway.
S. Pick 2, tiered PPR, so half running back, full 1.5.
Yep.
Kincaid, Logan, Pollard, Ferguson. Woo! I mean, Kincaid for sure is my 1.
Yep.
Pollard half versus Ferguson and Logan. Do I trust either of those guys?
Fergie's been
lighted up since
and he's also attached to that Dak offense. Oh, man.
Yep. They play against the Panthers. The Panthers have been, middle of the pack. Actually, they've been good against fantasy tight ends.
So 1.5 for the tight end. Just to give context, 10 targets 2 weeks ago, 7 targets last week. Give me Ferguson.
I like that too. I was thinking Logan Thomas, but I'm like, we might be getting a little bit too cute there.
I don't hate it. I'm not saying Logan Thomas is a bad option, but I'm gonna play Fergie.
Yeah, I feel you. Kate Otten or Donald Parham? I mean, full PPR. I don't like. Can Donald Parham ever be projected for more than 1 catch?
No, Parham. Yeah. These guys both have pretty bad floors. I think I'll take Otten here.
They do, but like the likelihood of going like 5 for 50 is so much higher with Otten than Parham. So I would just lean this way.
Agreed.
What do you guys think about the Dolphins' defensive? Let's see for next week. They have juicy matchups. Yeah, we do like a slip game in our office where we pick the top fantasy defense of the week, and I chose Miami.
Yep.
The game script's so good that they're just going to get a lot of really good opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
With Burrow done in Dynasty Superflex, I'm thinking of just riding with tight ends, tiered PPR, but I'm being offered mid-low grade QBs for seconds. Worth it or fuck it?
What are the I would say what are the options? Because I think if you can get a quarterbacks
for
replacements in seconds is typically not an investment I'm worried about at all.
That's like probably the spot you want to be. But when you say like mid-low grade QBs, are you talking about like fucking Derek Carr? Or are you talking about like Desmond Ridder? Because there is a difference there. If I'm a high second, I don't know if I'm going for Desmond Ridder.
I would probably prefer not to go for either. Like
you would trade a second for Carr though.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say I prefer not to. Not that I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I think it really depends for me which ones. Like if it's Carr, sure, there's injury risk. There's the Taysom Hill thing at the goal line, but sometimes you might see someone trying to get rid of Josh Dobbs or something. Like I'm definitely doing that for a second round pick.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So let us know what quarterbacks you're talking about. Like who's being offered to you, Shakir or Pickens? I'm gonna go Pickens. Shakir versus the Jets, tough matchup. Pickens is like one play away from always, making something happen.
Pickens has been a little shaky since Deontay's back, but it's definitely over Shakir.
Yeah. To answer your guys' question about my question, there's no quarterbacks available on the waiver, and today's the deadline. Also, it's 3 wide receivers and no flex, just super flex.
That's tight, man. That's tight. I could go either way here. I really don't. I think the offer makes sense. If you want to stack up that receiver room, I'm okay with it.
Said, or should I offer Purdy for Waddle straight up? Just eat Fields' bye with a non-quarterback and super flex.
What was the other piece that he sent with Waddle? It
was Waddle and Hollywood for Fields.
I
kind of think I want the 2 receivers.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think the Fields one is fine.
4-point pass touchdown. Start 1, Justin Fields or Stafford. So you got the Rams again going against the Seahawks. Should be kind of a shootout. I think they're kind of projecting for it. And then you got Fields coming back off the injury against Detroit. It is 4-point per passing touchdown league. Ah, man.
That's going to make it for me. the 4-point per passing touchdown is going to be the tiebreaker. That's going to be what makes me take Fields.
Yeah.
Because Stafford has been he's been middling this year, but in 4-point per passing touchdown, that's his upside.
And especially without Kyron, who was just like soaking up touchdowns, he'd go that way. But yeah, 4-point passing touchdowns, go Fields.
I'm with you.
You asked about my wide receivers. When looking at dropping Watson or Kmet, I have Chase, Ridley, Deontay, Olave. So Watson is my wide receiver 5. Also have heavy running backs. Yeah, so like those are great running backs.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, so you could drop either of those. Like Watson, he's never going to get into your lineup over Chase, Deontay, Olave. I mean, he could, I guess, over Ridley, but it's just both terrible options.
I'm perfectly fine getting rid of him.
Okay. 1 QB for my question on Fields off IR. Okay, yeah, 1 quarterback makes that really easy.
Yep, simple. Oh no,
like backup QBs. Browning, no. DTR, but any interest in like a mid like the 208 for DTR right now?
I would say a second for me is still a little bit rich because I don't think DTR is locked in to start for the rest of the year because they want to try to actually win. So if he had a bad week, like they might try to do something else next week.
The other thing too is like even if he does play well down the stretch, like then what?
The reality is
he's locked in the rookie contract.
I was just gonna say the reality is you're also a full. The reason I won't do a second, this is a full rental. There is no really path to get DTR to play next year.
Yeah, if he was a veteran on a 1-year contract where like he plays well, possibility of like Josh Dobbs type of trajectory where he can go sign with another team, cool. But like DTR being a rookie, being behind Deshaun, he has virtually zero chance of being valuable to you for 2 to 3 years now.
Yeah, he has no path to long-term playing time that you can project.
But I guess like let's talk about this a little bit more though, because let's say you're in a dynasty league, like you lose your QB2, and you're like, I'm competing for a playoff spot right now. That does change the way you got to think about that because like, what is a second in the long term of everything is less valuable in that context.
Yeah, I mean, I would put it like this: if you look at your team and you say, I think this team can really win, then I'm okay, even overpaying, let's say a second. But the reality then you have to ask yourself is, does adding DTR to this team really give it a chance to win?
Yeah.
That, I think, makes it a little tougher for me to answer clearly yes. I'm not saying you couldn't. It's something I'm okay doing in spots. This one feels tough because it feels like there's more downside than upside, I guess is the reason I'm saying that.
Yes, but let's say DTR goes out and plays real well against Pittsburgh, puts up like a 24-point fantasy performance, right? Like, I don't know, 180 through the air, touchdown, but like 60 yards on the ground, a touchdown there.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're like, man, he'd be a nice little like QB2 to have back there.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely risky, but it's not like I wouldn't look at you crazy if you're competing for a playoff spot and you're like, I'm willing to roll the dice here.
It's not something that I would put it like this. It's not something that if it backfires is going to make or break your dynasty team.
Yeah. I
just think that the odds of it working out or downside is more on the downside. But again, if you want to take the shot on DTR, you could do far worse to your dynasty.
Yeah. I also think like in this situation in particular, right? Like if you're getting offered Browning and DTR now, if you're hesitant to do it, DTR is a big game. You're not going to be able to get him. You could still go back and offer for Browning and get him if you wanted to.
Since we're going to go down this, I'm going to try to make it quick, but I'm going to give you what I do in this situation. Right? Strategy thing. You're getting offered these, okay? So what's happening is somebody's seeing your team is void of quarterbacks, and they're trying to take advantage of that situation, which makes sense. It's what you should be doing. At least before you take this trade, if you want to do that, explore every other team in your quarterback opportunities and what can you buy for that second-round pick, or can you buy for a third, or can you, if you add a little to that second, could you buy someone you'd much rather have long-term? Yeah, at least explore that before you hit this trade.
It's almost like go look at the other teams and be like, all right, I like these 7 quarterbacks more than I like DTR Browning. You can shoot out that same second that was offered to you. Let it sit for 24 hours. Maybe someone will pull the trigger and accept it. You could also look at quarterbacks that you like as much, shoot out trade offers for a third round instead. Let it sit for 24 hours. No one accepts. Then maybe reconsider that offer again.
Exactly. What he said, I think, is huge. That figure out what quarterbacks you'd rather try to purchase and what's the cost difference and is it palatable. For example, like I think Sam Howell right now is somebody that some teams will trade. You're going to have to pay a lot more in the second.
Yeah.
But the difference is if he hits, he could have league-winning upside we've already seen, and you might actually get long-term out of that contender purchase right now.
Yeah. That's a good point. These are all things to explore with like lower end quarterbacks at this time of the year in particular too, because like pretenders versus contenders have been separated at this
Correct.
point. People are now either looking towards the future or they're looking towards the playoffs. And that's when you could like make deals that are profitable for both sides. She also followed back up and said, I have Kincaid, Ingram, Ferguson, Thomas, Taysom to fill that super flex spot. So you'll be swapping. I do think like Kincaid or Taysom, the drop off in tight end premium from like a Jake. I feel like half the weeks Kincaid might outscore Jake Browning.
Yeah.
So that's obviously something else to consider. So it's like if you can get a good player at good value, make the trade, but you're not necessarily desperate.
Yeah. I think obviously you would rather see if you could put Kincaid in a different spot than Superflex. So if you can make a trade, great. Yeah. But if you don't feel comfortable with any of them, you don't get a great offer, I'm okay holding.
Yeah, you could 100% just sit on that because you like I said, you're not desperate.
To Nick's point too, as you basically have probably a shortened list of true sellers, which makes your shopping easier.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're gonna rip this last question from Andrew, and then we will head out. How do you feel about Jefferson's outlook coming back, assuming next week, not this one? I would expect nothing besides Justin Jefferson being Jefferson again, right?
I mean, I don't think, like, he's not someone that you could say, oh, his value was tied to Cousins. He's so good that I expect Jefferson to be Jefferson.
His value is tied to his legs.
Exactly.
That's it. Yeah,
he's just that dude.
Yep. All right, we'll get your last one, Andrew. You son of a bitch.
Nice job, Andrew. I like what you did.
Yeah. I would try to move Fields and someone for Jefferson, but I'm going to assume it's expensive, and I don't know if it's worth it if he's not going to be the JJ. I've got no like hesitation about Jefferson being the Jefferson that we know coming back. It wasn't like he rushed into 4 weeks of injury. They waited, right? Like especially if he misses this week too, they gave him ample time to return. So I got no issues, and it's not like we've seen this offense implode by any stretch of the imagination. So like J Jeff is J Jeff for me.
Yeah, J Jettas, man, is I wouldn't be worried about how he's going to play. It's just the expensive part is the reality.
That's it. Yep. So if you want to go get your mans, go get your mans.
Get him.
All right, y'all. That will wrap up Q and Assault for this week. Again, if you want to become a Big Dog member, if you want to be in the chat, you want these answers straight to the dome, bdge.co. Make sure you are following and subscribe to my man Adam. I will link all his social media right down below. It is one click to support him for the rest of your lives. Adam?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for pulling up. Appreciate
you. Appreciate y'all, man.